think I have to back up. There one. I don't know why it's so zoomed in. I don't know why this is so zoomed. I guess I gotta sit low. Okay. All right, this looks better. How well can you guys hear me? How well can you guys hear me? I don't even know. They have a new format since I was on here. How well can you guys hear me? How well? Don't make me have to pull my phone back up again. I'm hoping. Aha, there we go. All right. Welcome. John Joyner. I can hear fine. Very good, very good. Everybody. John, very nice seeing you here, by the way. Thank you for being here. Let's see who else we got in here. We're going to start once we get 15 people here. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then if my spirit takes me there, I'll go ahead and address the topic and the title. But we'll see. Peace. Great to be here. Always good seeing you. Always good seeing familiar faces. Who else is in here? We are live. I got a new camera, if you guys can't tell. So I had to step it up, right? So I got a new camera, new location, new setup. We're in a new era. So I'll do my. Maybe I need to. Once we get to 15 people, we'll go ahead and begin. For those who don't know, those who are new, how was the move? We've reached a place of peace, so things are settled now. John, thanks for asking, by the way. Things are settled right now. We've emptied almost every box. We're in a new place. Everybody's safe. Everybody's healthy. A lot of chaos during the move. We had two classes, the traditional medicine class and the language class, starting around that time. I feel bad for those who signed up for this session because things have been so up and down for them in a way that isn't normal for the program. Of course, I haven't been able to go live as much as before. What else has been going on? But I'm super happy to be where I'm at. The family's healthy. Things are moving. We as a family, we manifest this move, and it happened the way we manifested it exactly. So I give thanks to my ancestors. I give thanks to my source. I give thanks to Okiboko for making it possible. I give thanks to you guys for being very patient during the process too. So if you guys can't tell from my eyes, I'm kind of crashing a little bit. So we'll see how this live goes, but I promise it'll be a good one. Once we get to 15 people, we're going to go ahead and start. Again, this is Derek O'Foddermore with the Medicine Show. Where's that bell? Oh, you posted. Okay, that's the... Cool. So for those who don't know, my name is Derek O'Foddermore with the Medicine Show. Drew O'Foddermore with the Medicine Show. Trying to use my traditional name more. What was I going to say? I teach Odinani Ndibo, which is ancestral spirituality, cosmology, and thoughts, right? So we talk about the ancestors here. We talk about the Igbo tradition as far as how it is approached with the ancestors and so forth. We also have a Patreon community known as The Village. You can get on there let me just type it on the chat, www.patreon.com. Hey, Phoenix, and there /The Medicine Show. That is our Patreon community where we learn together and connect together. Phoenix, why are you laughing? But yeah, so that's where we connect at, is our Patreon community at patreon.com. Whoa, you're in HD. Yeah. Oh man, decided to quit being childish and going live with my phone. Yeah, I'm in HD now. You say. This is going to be happening a lot more often. This is going to have to be a lot more often. Your links still not activated. I wonder how to activate links. Phoenix, can you figure out how to activate links and share that with me? I'd appreciate it. If we get 3 more people, we're going to go ahead and start the discussion. But yeah, get on the Patreon community, patreon.com/The Medicine Show. We have a traditional medicine class in there for those who have the calling to be a healer, or you're just curious as to how that works. We have a class, and then we also have our Igbo language class for those who want to learn the ancestral language. All of that is available at patreon.com/the medicine shell. Much better camera. Good, good shade. Yeah, good seeing you. Good seeing you. Good seeing good shade. All right, cool, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were supposed to figure that out months ago. Phoenix, were we both supposed to figure it out, or because I don't know how to do it? Will you be discussing touch and follow? We'll see. Just bring the question, and we'll answer the question. Man. So if we get, we're at 11 right now. If we get four more people, we'll go ahead and begin. Right. If we get four more people, we'll go ahead and begin. We don't end. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys how this works. So this is ask me anything, right? You ask a question, I answer. You ask a question, I answer. I like to let you guys carry the conversation where it goes. But I did have a topic I wanted to address, so I put it in the title. But once you guys get me to wake up a little bit more then with the questions. But ask any question you ask, I'll answer. Because of my new setup, I think it's easier to track you guys' questions. So if I miss your question, just ask it twice. But I think that there's going to be a lot less of that going on. I'll find it and send a tutorial to you. Okay, thank you, Felix. I appreciate it. Cool, cool. I could just ask ChatGPT too. Just I gotta prioritize it. But yeah, touch and follow. So if you guys have any questions that pertain to anything dealing with spirituality, Igbo spirituality, ancestral spirituality, we get into some current affairs too. So whatever is going on that you want to discuss, we get into that as well. This live was inspired by, I think his name's Deante Kyle. You guys are probably familiar with him. Deante Kyle made a video where he said that Jesus was holding back the black community. And if somebody convinced you to call your ancestors demons, then something's wrong with you, basically. Something along those lines, right? And I started this big discussion, so I wanted to see if that was a discussion you guys were trying to have here. If not, that's cool too. I love your rants on live at time. All right, cool. Yeah, yeah. If you got any topics you want to bring up, I got a couple rants in the clip, right? But like I said, I'll let you guys bring it up. Now, here's what's driving me crazy. I see that there's 11 people in here, and only 6 of them have hit the like button, right? I don't know what I did. I don't know if in a past life I did something to y'all. I don't know if it's beef. I don't know if, I don't know. Maybe you're from the other side of town. You don't like people from my side of town. I don't know what it is. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. We hit the like button. We always make sure it's even, 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 1, right? If you don't hit the like button, I'm going to headbutt the screen. All right. Maybe that's what I start doing. I start headbutting. Not the guilting. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I'll do my. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ugochukwu Chid, what's going on? You want to talk about touch and go? How about this too? So we can get to the 15, and this is the crazy part. Once we start, everybody just shows up, right? So we can get to the 15. Take this link, share it with the WhatsApp group, share it with the group chat, share it with post it on Facebook, post it on the family. Is there family Instagram? Is that a thing? Post it on the Instagram. Post it on your couple's Instagram, right? Post it anywhere you can. So let's get our people in here, get people who are like-minded and interested in these topics to come on in and have this discussion. But yeah. I decided I've had this camera for a while. I just took a long time to learn how to make it do what it do and get all the adapters and that kind of thing. I feel like the older I get, the more complicated. And maybe it's just part of being old. But the older I get, the more complicated technology is, man. So you can never just plug something in and just have it go. So, but we're here now, right? We're here now. How's my audio as well? I made some adjustments on my mic. How is my audio? Question: how did the spirit of self-sabotage? Oh, okay, cool. You know what? If we get 10 people in here, we'll go ahead and start, right? We'll get 10, we'll go ahead and start. I haven't gone live in a while, so audio sounds good. Okay, cool. I did my 10. All right, he said, let's go ahead and begin. Okay. All right, so present you guys with, let's see if we can get it on camera. I'll present you with Audrey, right? This right here is the cola. This thing represents a lot, right? The story behind this thing that I'm holding here is that when the original people, our original ancestors were coming from creation, they were asked to take anything from the garden of Obichukwu. Obichukwu is the source of creation, right? The center point that all things come from, right? They were asked to take anything they want to maintain that connection, right? And a couple of things they took, all related to a class of, let's call them plants, known as algae, right? So the one I have here, we just call it algae, right? It represents the heart. It represents the connection between the present, the ancestral, and those to come, and then those that are unseen. It represents the four quadrants that create a human being, which is chi, eke, ahu, mo. It represents the four elements that create all things, eke, uri, afo, and kwo, which is light, water, earth, and wind. So all of that together is represented by this. Anybody who is holding this or holding this in an ufo or a tray is speaking on behalf of the ancestors and speaking to the ancestors, right? You're the connector, right? So that being said, let me go ahead and begin, right? Okikekerowa, alawala, ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ, ala nne na-enye ndụ na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ụmụ gị abịala. Ọgwụ obiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ndị mgbu na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Werekwa ọjị anyị ji n'aka, mara na ọjị nke ga-enye ndụ, ọjị nke ga-enye ntozi, ọjị nke ga-enye obiọma n'ụwa. Werekwa ya na aha ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Ise. All right, so what I just said there was that this Audrey, I acknowledged everything that's present, right? So I acknowledged the ancestors, I acknowledged the creator, I acknowledged the earth, I acknowledged all four elements. So when you mention those four elements, they also correlate with the 4 days of the Igbo calendar. And then the reason that's significant is that whichever day you were born is one of your names. So when you say Eke, Uri, Afo, Nkwo, we use that to name all of the ancestors that we can't name. So maybe there's 11 of us in this room, 12 counting me, 12 of us in this room. We can't name everybody's ancestors. Or maybe, of course, you're never going to be able to name all your ancestors. So we use Eke, Uri, Afo, Nkwo to include everybody, right? And I said that this thing is going to give us growth. This algae is going to give us growth. This algae is going to give us wisdom. And this algae is being sent with a good heart. Chuku Igwe Kedukide. So the first question I got is, how did the spirit self-sabotage work go? It went, what's really interesting? I feel like I hit a new level in my growth as an adult after that, right? I hit a new level. There was like a clarity that my head had. My head has this clarity now. I have this, like, there's a different kind of clarity that I have, but I've hit a new level. Like I feel more grounded now. Like I feel more, when you're young, you got a bunch of like stuff running through you, and it's fun, but it can lead you in the wrong direction and so forth. I feel like that has significantly cooled down, right? And it happened really soon after that work, right? So in my mind, it went well. What's interesting is I took out the little man, right? I took out the little man one night, and I was holding it. While I was holding it, I don't know if it was just anyways, I just started forgetting things. I was like losing things a lot. I was like all these issues that have kind of plagued me, throughout life. So, but I have a little place where I keep it, and I bring it out. He's my travel guardian, right? Travel guardian. So I use him when I travel, and my travels have gone well. I drove across the country with a U-Haul. I've been up and down on the airplanes and all that stuff, and of course, I'm in this new place, right? I'm in this new place that I've wanted to be. So, yeah, it went well. I think it went well. I think it went very well. So, I'll give him You know, I don't bring it out as much as I thought I would, though. Right? I thought I'd bring it out more often, but I really don't. Yeah, I didn't. It went really well. So I have a lot of clarity and a lot of like, I don't know, something's different, and it's good. It's a good different. I'm more grounded. Right? I didn't. All right. So the way Ask Me Anything works is you guys ask the questions, and of course now we're at 15. You guys ask the questions, and then I answer. Once you guys run out of questions, then I hop. Right, I dip. So whatever questions you guys may have, we are here. We are here. We are here. Thank you for. I'm glad the old man helped. Yeah, yeah, it helped a lot. So I didn't. Yeah. So I appreciate you asking. If you guys don't have questions, I'm out. So if you guys don't have questions, I'm out. Or topics you want to discuss and that kind of thing. I think I need to revamp the format too, right? I can't put too much pressure. I comb my beard. I can't put too much pressure on you guys to make it about. Can you talk about UFO? Yes, absolutely. So everything that happens in so people will ask me like, where do you start if you want to learn about Odinani, or if you want to learn ancestral spirituality, or if you want to pray like the ancestors? And I always tell them to learn this ceremony known as Iwa Oji. Iwa Oji. I'm going to type it in the chat. Iwa Oji, right? Iwa Oji is the breaking of the kola, right? Now, I didn't break this one because I learned this very recently, right? You don't break them at night. You can only break them in the day, right? So in the morning, I'll break it, right? But after you say all that stuff I said in the beginning, after saying all that stuff, you then break it and then commence with your day and you eat it and so forth, right? But every single thing in that ceremony is the reason I tell you to start there is because it is a simulacrum, I think is the word, of everything you need to know as far as ancestral spirituality. It is everything you need to know as far as ancestral culture. So long as that ceremony is alive, nothing can be lost, right? So long as that ceremony, wow, gee, is alive, nothing can be lost. So in our traditional medicine class, for example, it's one of the first things that we make sure you learn. Even in the Igbo language class where you learn Igbo, it's one of the things you learn, how to do the ceremony. It's that important, right? Now, the reason it's so important is because every single symbol, every single thing that's being done, if you stretch it out, right? If you stretch out and add more detail, you will understand everything there is to know that you need to know as far as ancestral spirituality. But it's like it's like the whole message condensed. It's the entire message condensed. So every single thing I did in that process, everything single thing that's done in that process, there's a meaning to it, right? And including its presentation and how it is presented, right? Its presentation and how it is presented, right? So this thing, what was asked about, I'm trying to get it to unblur. There we go. What was asked about was this tray, right? This tray was what was asked about. This tray is the UFO, spelled UFO. The UFO. The UFO is what carries the Oji, is what carries the cola, right? The UFO itself represents your ezumezu, right? So, what is your ezumezu? Think about the ancestral understanding of self. The individual is like a universe, right? You as an individual are a universe. There are elements of that universe that can be seen and accessed through the five senses. There are most of it cannot be accessed through the five senses, right? Those are extrasensory things, right? And so you have all of these things, but it's all riding through time and space together. It is all riding, no, 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 let me not say time and space. It is riding through life together, this whole universe, right? So when you see, or solar system, let me say solar system. So when you see like a little diagram of our solar system, it's got the sun, it's got all of the little planets are going around it, it's got the moons going around the planets and so forth, right? Now, that thing will give you an idea of the solar system that we're in, like the solar system that we're in, right? And that is what's happening here, right? So everything that is kept in here are all of the things that you are moving through time and space with. In the same way that the sun is moving and its gravity is carrying all of those little floating parts, or not little, like the earth and stuff, right? Your chi is also moving through life and is carrying all these parts, and that whole big picture is everything it takes to make you, right? So when you do the ceremony, there's this part where you're calling the names of your ancestors. You understand? You call the names of all of the elements, you call the names of your ancestors. Some people can sit there for hours just going, and that kind of thing, right? These are all the things that are in your boat, right? These are all the things that are in your solar system are all in here. So this represents that Ezumezu, right? The Ezumezu is the four. It's the term Ezumezu refers to the four-faced U, the U with four faces, right? The U with four faces, the U with that is all seeing, all knowing, and total and complete. You understand? So this represents everything that is in creation with you, that is of you, but floating through creation with you, moving through life with you, right? The Ufo is the representative of that boat. The you'll if you I refer to a lot of Kemetic art and hieroglyphics and things like that because I think it's something that we all know that's talking about the same thing and coming from the same perspective. But you'll notice that the depiction of the day, right, of the day in Kemet is a boat with a bunch of different abara. We call them abara. I think they're netter in Kemet, right? And then one of them has the sun, right, on top of his head, that kind of thing. Now, the word day in Igbo language is ubochi, the boat of the chi, the boat of the chi. So that's what this represents. It is that boat, let's call it a boat, that everything that takes to make you, the entire universe that is you is on and riding through life with. So that's what the UFO represents, right? That is what the UFO represents. Oh, that was a really good question. Uh, have you talked about Deante Kyle having the girls in a tizzy? Let me get to that. Let me not yet, Phoenix, not yet. Ezumezu, yes, thank you for Rayex. Thank you for that. Amaka, no, let me know. I don't know if I can say your name. So, my I'm happy to see you nonetheless. Interesting that UFO and UFO have a commonality. Solar system intertidal. Well, yeah. So, if you, I keep feeling tempted to call you. Right? If you get a hold of the book After God is Dibia, Dr. Ume, or Dibia Ume, Dibia Dr. Ume, he theorizes in the book that there's a connection between the UFO and the UFO, right? He says that the UFO is also represents the I can't remember how he described it. It is a light vehicle, the light vehicle that our essence used to enter creation, right? And of course that's correct, right? But it's the light vehicle that our essence used to enter creation, or the light that it used to enter creation. And then he likened it to the UFOs and that kind of thing. So yeah, so all them thank you for explaining all that. Yes, you can. And they well, okay, I'm like, no problem. I'm currently reading that book. Yeah, so yeah, I think you'll get to the part. I don't know if it's volume 1 or 2. You'll get to the part where he talks about the UFO. So Adema. Can you talk about the connection between African leopard priest, the Mayan jaguar priest, and Black American panthers? All right, we are cooking. We are cooking. We are cooking. These are the type of connections that I like to see, right? These are the type of connections that I like. Like when you guys make these connections, right? These are the ones that I like to see, right? So I'll talk about the how we understand the leopard, right? The leopard is referred to as an izumezu mo, a total and complete spirit. The leopard is an izumezu mo, a total and complete spirit, right? Because the leopard is a total and complete spirit, it bears the name Agon. Agon, right? Now, I used to wonder if there was a connection between Agon and Agon, which is the Abara, the spirit of Agon, right? Which is the spirit that is connected to the mind of the creator, right? And the part of you that carries your destiny. And yeah, they are connected. The two words Agon and Agon, they are both connected, right? And this is the connection. So if you look in nature, The leopard is an animal that is excellent in all terrains, right? It is an excellent swimmer. It is an excellent climber. It is excellent moving through the air. It is excellent on the ground. It can't be beat on any aspect of the ground, right? And this represents a total and complete mastery, right? Total and complete mastery in different dimensions. Now, because the leopard in nature shows us complete mastery in different dimensions, it is understood to be an Ezumezu more spirit, right? A total and complete spirit. So that mastery that the leopard has, when an individual is able to reach that mastery in whatever endeavor that they reach, right? This mastery of different elements, right? They adorn them with leopard skin, known as Ishaku. Now, in the modern day, they've changed the actual leopard skin to like this velvet fabric with a bunch of like circles on it, also called Ishago, just because, there's like 50, 40 million Igbo people. We can't all be wearing leopard. Like, there won't be any leopards left, right? That kind of thing. So, just practicality. But in the past, it used to just be leopard, right? It used to be leopard. And this was a person that this leopard represents the Ezumezumo, the total and complete spirit, the spirit that is excellent in Eke, Uri, Afo, and Nkwo, that kind of thing. Also linked to the concept of Amadioha, right? Amadioha, or Igwe, the sky, right? The sky, or Amadioha, has access to all of the elements. You understand? Be it wind, or only do it in order: light, water, earth, and wind. Amadioha is has a total access to all of those things, and therefore Amadioha has an Ezumezu, total and complete more. Now, one of the things you will notice, right? There are certain things that tie all Black African cultures together, right? I don't really see differences, honestly. You reach a point in your learning that you stop seeing these big divisions and differences. I don't see them, right? Now, one of the things you will see is that anybody who is understood to be an Ezumezu, right? An Ezumezu more total and complete in their understanding, 360 degrees of wisdom, right? And beyond, right? They'll put leopard on that person, right? You'll see it again in Kemet. You'll see it in the Congolese cultures. You'll see it in South Africa. You'll see it in every culture in Nigeria. You'll see it in Ghana. You'll see it all the way up to Senegal and so forth. You'll see every single place that we are. You're going to see this thing, right? So then I come to learn that the Aztecs also had this concept, framed the exact same way. A total and complete warrior was a jag warrior, right? They wore the jaguar. Like, I can't remember the term they used for them, but had the jaguar. They're priests, the jaguar priest, total and complete. They wore the leopard, right? So I'll leave that up to you guys to tell me what you think that connection is, or why do you think that is? Is it a matter of influence or connection, or is it a matter of they're both using the same kind of understanding of the same thing, right? Which is kind of more where I lean towards. But I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. But yeah, you see the Aztecs using the leopard to represent the same thing. They put it on their priests in Kemet, same thing, priests, Igbo, same thing, priests, all these different cultures, right? All these different cultures. You're going to see leopard. These are the things that I see that always connect everybody. Leopard, one, that leopard, the use of the leopard symbolism, the ram symbolism, the use of the ram and how it's used and that kind of thing. More specifically, the relationship between the ram and the sun. The hornbill, which the Greeks, I'll call it adapted, right? Which the Greeks adapted and turned into the phoenix. You understand? But the hornbill, you're always going to see this throughout, like Black Africa. You're going to see these masks of hornbills, and it's always going to have two other hornbills sitting on its head. And there's going to be different levels of abstraction. So some of them will look like hornbills, some of them will look like two beaks, that kind of thing. But it's everywhere. Then you see it in the Lion King as Zazu, the one that flies around and tells, that kind of thing. You see it in the Lion King as Zazu, right? Because they know what they're doing with the Lion King. Instead, they're talking about it's from Japan. You know what I mean? What's another one? I'll leave those for now. There's a couple. There's these things that I just keep seeing over and over and over and over and over, and I don't see the differences anymore. Right? Christian, thank you for that question. You already talked about the. I haven't gotten there yet. Interesting. Da, 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 da. Yeah, the book also made the yeah. So after God is DB, it talks about the connection between the UFO and the UFO, right? The UFO and the UFO. So I don't think the phrase UFO is connected to UFO, right? I think it's a little bit of a coincidence, but I tend to think things are coincidences, and then they show me something else, right? So I'm not going to say anybody's wrong, but I'll give him but yeah, he what he's referring to is like the light vehicle, and then he says, in fact, UFO, that kind of thing. So I'll give him all right. Can Eke and Chi be interchangeable? I heard an example that both Eke and Chi would be the sun. Oh my God, yeah, that's a good question. Yes, they're interchangeable. Yes, they're interchangeable. So if a difference is made between the two of them, it's almost for like educational purposes only, right? Or specifically, you understand. But they're absolutely interchangeable. If if there's a like, for example, now like one of the major damages that colonialism caused is because in the colonial context, the creator is one thing, right? One man created everything. And in our context, it's a couple, a man and a woman, a mother and a father, right? And because the mother doesn't translate, a lot of the Eke stuff has been cut out of the language, right? So you'll see people named Chema. Chema you used to be able to meet people named Ekema. You meet like older people with that name. Same thing, right? Chema, Ekema, Chinwe, Ekenwe. All the ekes have been faded out of it because it doesn't translate to Jesus. You can't translate to Jesus. It's a woman, right? That kind of thing, and so forth. So, but yeah, eke, chi and eke are interchangeable. They're the same thing, right? They're the same thing. It's like me. It's like saying a person in their spirit, right? A person in their spirit, or like yeah, a person in their spirit would be a good way of thinking of it. Chi and Eke they're interchangeable, right? They're one and the same. In fact, in a lot of people will say that they're connected, like the same way Agons connect. So Agons depicted as being connected at the back and then having one female head, one male head. They say that Chichnik is also connected that way as well, right? So they're interchangeable. It's one and the same force, one and the same spirit. You'll hear me talk about them as two different things just so you can understand the specifics of each one, right? The specifics of each one. But it's just like a household. You got two parents. There is a difference between your mother and your father, but they're both the parents, right? And it's interchangeable, right? Go ask your mother, go ask your father. Interchangeable, same thing, right? That kind of thing. So I'll be more. Can she be? It's okay. We already got that. Did Arashi Abara have numbers associated with them? Yes, absolutely. Oh, what's going on? Hold on, guys. I want to make sure that this is charging. And that. Anybody see the verses? Did anybody see the verses? Yo, I don't. I thought I had my charger in here. Hold on. Let me go get my charger for this laptop, and I'll come answer the question. So now we're the Black Panthers, this American civil rights. Now Black Panthers. I'm gonna get to that. Give me a minute. Yeah. Should have had some music playing or something while I was gone. So let me get this thing fixed. So where were we at? Currently reading that. Interchangeable. We answered that. Do the Arashi and the Abara have numbers associated with them? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I'll give you a few. So I'll use Amadioha. is associated with the number three, as is Allah, right? So I have a video called Igbo Numerology Explained, and I kind of explain the number associations between the Abara and all that stuff. Give me just a second. Let me plug this in. So, so yeah, I give the number association with the Almara and that whole thing, right? But I'll give a few here. So, Allah and Amadioha are associated with the number three. The number three is associated with Afo, the third market day. It is also associated with life, living, kinetic things that are moving and alive, and that kind of thing. That's where you get your what we call life, right? Being alive is from the number three, right? Being able to move and that kind of thing. So Amadeo has associated with three, Allah is associated with number three. You'll notice she'll have three. She usually has a three formed head. So she'll have her head and then her hair will have either three lobes or like three like little afro kind of puff movements, that kind of thing. For those of you, there's a lot of artists. Those of you who want to depict Allah, Allah has there's always a three going on, or she'll have her and then two daughters, right? Which breaks back down into three and that kind of thing. Three is I'm sorry, one. No, what is one? Two is Chi na Eke Chineke, right? So the creator is two. Um Agon, what is Agon's number? I think Agon's number is both. Well, Agon exists in many different levels, many different places. But you can any even number would be associated with Agon. Trying to think of some other ones. Trying to think of some other ones. I apologize. Chineke would be one. Miri, Nemiri, any water type of thing, Nemiri, all that is associated with the number two. The number three is Amadyaha and Allah. And then the number four would be Ekwensu, Ekwensu, also Agon because it's an even number, and Arobinagon, which is the female head of Agon, right? So one of the things about the Abara, for those you don't know, right, the deities, if you want to call them that, which is not a term I like to use, but one of the but for those who don't know what an Abara is, I'm going to give you kind of an idea. So the Abara, one of the things about them is that they manifest on different levels, right? So they come in human form, they come in the form of nature, they come in the form that surpasses nature, and so forth. So something like Igwe or Amadioha, which is associated with the sky, is just one form of Chuku. It's just Chuku in nature, right? And then that same essence will then come into the human being as their chi. Okay, on different levels, right? They're all manifesting on different levels. Nemiri on the nature level manifests, of course, as rivers. On an animal level, she manifests as like pythons and things like that, right? And so, for example, now if somebody were to ask me how many Abara are there, it's a hard question to answer because like something like Agon, every single thing has its own Agon. Every single thing has its own Agon, right? And it's inseparable from the existence of that thing, you know. So yeah, these are just ingredients that make up the universe. So I don't know. Da, da, da. I did not see the verses. I heard Birdman was tripping. Hold on. And Tamar was being extra. I was happy to see a Mia X. Yo, Mia X killed it, man. Yo, Mia X killed it. She crushed it. She was like, she came to do something, you know? She came to make a statement. So yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that No Limit won. Right? I was happy that they won, but I was surprised that they won because you know Cash Money has the big hits or the bigger hits, you know. But of course, like everybody's been saying, I think just because No Limit had like a stronger family feel, they felt more organized. And then it's like these are people that you grew up listening to, so you wanted to see them in a good place, like matured and things like that. And I think No Limit had that feeling where it's like okay, they all still have respect for each other, and but they can still put on the fatigues and have fun and that kind of thing. Then Cash Money just seemed like, I don't know, they're just haunted by too many crazy things. So they're just haunted by too many crazy things. So I'll do more. Phoenix, I don't. I'm sure the person was wilding out, but remember the rule. Remember the rule. Jermaine, Ndewo, Jermaine, good seeing you. I got your email. It's gonna make it hard for me to sleep tonight. I really apologize about what happened. But I responded and it'll be completely handled. I'm sorry about that. But let me read, assuming this is the same Jermaine, which I think it is, right? It's all good. Okay, good. All right. That was not supposed to happen. So I feel bad for let me the our traditional medicine class this session and our language class, because things have been all over the place and you guys have had, this is not normal, right? So, going forward, we're gonna make sure everything's right. Jermaine says, "How's the English translation of Ajofia Newi? I'm drawn to the sound. I hear the lyrics are profound." Yeah. So I'm not translating the full thing, right? I am not translating the full thing. There was a certain segment of it, because it's like, anyways, there was a certain segment that I wanted to translate, because it was like what I was hearing, it just spoke to me so much. For those who don't know, and Jermaine, this is a perfect segue. All right, Uchenna, Ubokwenu, and they were one there. So yeah, for those who don't know what the Ajofia Newi is, and this is a perfect segue into the topic we're going to talk about, right? So the word Ajofia translates to the evil forest, right? The evil forest. The less common name for the Ajofia is the Okento, right? Which is the it's okay. So when a community is establishing itself, they do this thing known as Ntwala, right? There's this iron staff with these bells and things on it, and you strike the land with it, and it gives you a certain vibration. And each vibration will tell you what the land is for, right? Like the true nature of that land. So it'll tell you this is the Eke market based on the vibration. This is the Uriye market. This is that, right? So the way we understand building is that things reveal themselves, right? So you can go to a patch of land and nothing's there, but it's already a community. You just can't see it yet. You understand? So you need to ask it, what are you, right? Where are we going? Okay, this is here, this is that kind of thing, right? And so one of the things that get identified is the Okento or the Ajofia. This is a forest that does not have a reproductive nature, right? It is a forest that does not have a procreative nature. It is a male forest, a masculine forest, right? It doesn't birth things. And what happens is when a person identifies, or when the community identifies different things that they don't want in their different spirits, they don't want recurring in their community, they will put them in the Ajofia, where and it'll be held there in the Ajofia. So, for example, and trigger warning, I'm gonna say some topics that people may not want to hear. There are, like, if somebody's having like recurring miscarriages, once that issue is resolved, there is a ritual that's done to identify the spirit that's causing it. And then that spirit is put in the Ajofia. If any abomination is committed, the soil that the abomination was committed was cut out and put in the Ajofia. So all of the things for generations that have haunted your ancestors are all in the Ajofia, right? And what happens is, in some communities, everybody has a different way of doing it. But in this particular community, Newi has this very famous masquerade known as the Ajofia Newi. And what the Ajofia Newi does is it comes out as this big smoking masquerade. I'm trying to find, I think I can pull it up on my phone. Hold on. It comes out as this big smoking masquerade. Like, it's got this smoke bellowing and it's all these things hanging from it and that kind of thing. And it just walks really slowly through the community. But it comes out as a poet, right? As a poet. It does this type of poetry known as Mbem, which is like traditional poetry, right? Or traditional rapping, as then people like to call it, right? And so and if you listen to what Ajofia is saying, it's incredibly profound stuff, right? I'm going to actually pull up first. I'm going to pull up the Ajofia, and then I'm going to pull up a translation I did for a segment. There was a certain segment I did a translation, and I posted it on Patreon. So I'm going to read it for everybody. But if you guys want that kind of stuff, get on Patreon, patreon.com/the medicine show. Let me pull up the Ajofia video if you guys have not seen it, or to like a visual of it. Ajofia Newi. Trying to find like an example, right? Okay. All right, so that's an example. So this exact song that Ajofia is singing, right? So what Ajofia comes out and it tells this poetry, right? And it's deep. It's deep. A lot of very profound things are being said, but they're mainly like life lessons, right? They're mainly life lessons, and it's interesting that something that is represents all of these dark things. I think, like I said, Pandora's box, right, is giving you all this wisdom and all this like all these life lessons and perspective and things like that. I'm gonna pull up the Patreon, and I'm gonna find the translation that I did for that exact song that you're hearing, and I'm gonna read it. It should be short, right? It should be brief. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? When I come back, I expect to see questions, or else I'm hopping. But this is a perfect segue. I'm actually going to talk about what I came to talk about. No, 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 no. Bum, 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 bum. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. It was a while back that I did the translation. It was a while. No, it was a while back. There we go. Found it. All right. So I'm going to play the song again, and then I'm going to read you the English translation of what's being said, right? Of the full thing being said. And I want to get some of your interpretations too, because it's very. All right, so the translation of this exact song, and then my translation is longer than the little clip that I gave. But what this thing is saying is, in the age of wandering, when a great dying befell the forest, there was an evil spirit who ignites lamps with its own head, who hears what is said behind him with a patient ear, whose head shatters pillars and fist cracks palm kernels to make soup. Older than man, older than the man on the land, and older than the man in your shrine. For the ram says, man is known for using oil to eat his food, and war is used to know a warrior. Destruction pulls one up like fetched water. When this gift stops flowing from my body, I will rest. A closed ear is used to tie one down. As is eating the heart of the horse that brought you to the top of the mountain. For if famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. As one cannot drift in a dry stream, has the light of the lamp reached you? All right, so that is exactly what Ajofia Newi, that's the type of bars that the Ajofia Newi goes about town saying. And Ajofia Newi has become so popular, it's got an album on Spotify. It does tours now. It's like a celebrity, right? He's become a celebrity, but I was listening to it and it was just like, I was like, damn, like I want to translate this because this is incredible. And I want to share it with the village. Our Patreon community is the village, by the way. I wanted to share it on Patreon. So yeah, I translated it and I did that. And I have my own interpretations of what's being said and that kind of thing. But does anybody else have any? Does any? I don't know if you guys heard what I said, but what do you think of this being said? Japan has a forest like that. Hey, Akachi Lamb, we're doing one there. Good seeing you. Japan has a forest like that. In the movie Ronin, Keanu Reeves was born in that forest. Keanu Reeves from the Ajofia. Yeah. Can you give us the rap genius of those bars? All right, let's do that. Let's do that. All right, let's do that. All right, so the first line. These are my interpretations, right? There are no the only incorrect interpretation is having no interpretation, right? So this is what it says to me. So it says, in the age of wandering, when a great dying befell the forest. Now it's really important to pay attention to the fact that it's talking about a great dying befell the forest, right? It's talking about this is talking about a time of tragedy, right? Now, the age of wandering, the in the four I was going to say 4 market days. So our ancestors understand that humanity went through 4 world ages to get to the point that we're at now, right? There's the first world age where we were light beings, and as light beings, we existed primarily in Obi Chukwu, in the source of all of creation, right? We were in the source of all of creation, and then this is also what that UFO is representing, all those light beings coming to the earth, which is why Dr. Rumen makes the allusion, the connection to the UFO, right? That kind of thing. This is the UFO, also spelled UFO. So from light, we enter the world. From light, we enter the world. Once we enter the world, the connection between us and Obi Chukwu gets cut, and the drifting would begin to drift away from the source. Obi Chukwu, the heart of Chukwu, the source of Chukwu. We begin to drift away from Chukwu. Now we're drifting away from Chukwu, the father, but we are on Allah, the mother. And so we're now having to figure out how to go from eating from what the sky gives, right? In some people's cosmic imagination, they'll say that we used to just eat air, right? That we used to just eat air. And this is the reason human beings still breathe, right? That's what they say. Like originally, people were eating air. I've heard, like, in a lot of mythology, you'll hear that, like, I don't call it mythology, a lot of storytelling. You'll hear that a certain fish would just, anytime somebody would ask for food, a fish would float down from the sky and they would eat it, right? There's always this idea that we're connected to this umbilical cord to the unseen, right? We're connected by umbilical cord to the unseen, and then we enter the scene, we enter the universe, we enter the terrestrial world, and we now have to figure out how to feed from the terrestrial world. Now, in the process of trying to figure out how to eat from the world, this is also known as the age of wandering, right? When we're just trying to figure out what's going on, we're experiencing hunger for the first time. We're experiencing our emotions, like things like fear and lack and all these things. We're experiencing it for the first time. And in a lot of stories that are told in this era, there's always this great hunger, right? There's always this great hunger until people figured out how to communicate with the earth. And then the earth showed human beings how to eat from her, right? How to feed from her, how to live upon her, and so forth. This age is the age by which much of what we call Udinani was put together. It's us figuring it out, trial and error, and so forth, right? So in the age of wandering, which is Ugachi, in the age of Ugachi, a great dying befell the forest, right? There was, the next line, next set is, there was an evil spirit who ignites lamps with his head, right? Now, if you look at the Ajofia, this is my interpretation, y'all. If you look at the Ajofia masquerade, it has a fire coming from its head, right? At the same time, it's a metaphor saying that ignites lamps from its head, but it also ignites your own wisdom, ignites your own, it uses its head, it uses its uche, its wisdom to spark your lamp, right? And the reason I have that interpretation is you see at the end, it says, has your lamp been ignited yet, right? You've heard these words. Do you get it yet? Do you understand, right? Are you awake yet, right? So oftentimes when you see masquerades, there's nothing on the masquerade that's done by accident. Now, some masquerades are just entertainers, and that's fine, but the ones like Ajofia, where they talk like that, The ones where kids run away, women and kids will run away when they come out. Those ones aren't playing, right? So every single thing on them has a meaning. There's something that it's saying, or it's holding something, right? So that fire coming from the top of his head, it means something, right? Now think about the allegory as well. This is where all of the things that haunt the community are kept, right? But it's a source of wisdom that it ignites your lamp, right? The thing that everybody fears, the thing that holds all of your fears and all of your demons and all the things that are haunting you, that thing that's holding it, that's keeping it for you, is also a teacher. That's what it really is a teacher. You understand? So you can interpret that in many ways. You can interpret the fact that learning, like, we talk about trauma, right? We talk about this thing called trauma. And this is going to sound wild saying, especially in 2015 to 2025. What year is this? 2025 United States. I don't think learning is possible without trauma, right? And we always want to rid ourselves of trauma. We always want to shed it off because we have this idea that, like, we were pure and then all these things made us impure, that kind of thing. But learning's not possible without trauma. And the reason I know that learning is not possible without trauma is because if you just look at life, right? Nothing you learn that is connected to trauma goes away. That lesson doesn't go away. You're never going to forget it. People always say you never forget how to ride a bike. Yeah, because you fell so many times trying to make that thing happen. You skid your knees so many times trying to make it happen that when you finally make it happen, your bones know the lesson. It's not just your mind. It's a total body knowledge, which is the type of knowledge our people deal with, our ancestors deal with. It is a total body knowledge, right? They're always like, oh, when you go to another country, you learn the language quicker. Yeah, because you're anxious, you're scared. You don't know where you're going to find food. You don't know who's going to rob you. You don't know what people are saying behind your back. You don't know where to find the bus. You don't even know if you're doing the right thing. So all of those uncomfortable feelings are etching the lesson inside of you, in your essence. They're etching it inside you, right? These are all tiny little examples of it. These are small, everyday examples, but the lessons that come with they stick. You understand? You have to feel some type of extraordinarily negative, painful emotion for something to stick permanently. Now, of course, you can learn without that, right? You can learn without it. But if you look at what the Ajafia is all of that is pain. It's like a mountain of pain, right? And from that mountain of pain, all this wisdom flows out. It ignites your lamp. So that's what I got from that line. Let me go to the next one. Right. So it says, who hears what is being said behind him with a patient ear, whose head shatters pillars and fist cracks palm kernels to make soup. Right. So in English, that sounds funny because we don't, I don't know how to, there. Okay. So in English, when you're being poetic, there are certain things you don't mention, right? Or certain places you don't go because all of a sudden it becomes mundane, right? It becomes human. I don't know how to explain it. It becomes common, right? When you're speaking Igbo, it's not the same thing. It's all everything. The divine is in everything, right? So if you look at what's being said, right, it's talking about the greatness of the Ajofia, right? That this thing uses its head to crack pillars, right? It can break a pillar with its own head and uses its hand to crush palm kernels. If you guys have ever held a palm kernel, it's like a diamond, right? It's hard, 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 hard. So I think that is speaking to the power of the Ajofia masquerade, speaking about its greatness. But you guys may have a different interpretation. There may be more to it, right? If you guys have, I'm not reading anybody's comments right now, by the way. If I'll read it after. If you really want to catch my attention, do it as like a super chat or something. Let me go back to, yeah. So whose head shatters pillars and fists crack palm kernels to make soup, older than the man on your land and the man in your shrine, right? So earlier, I was saying that a community knows that this is the Ajofia because of the vibration of the forest, right? So this thing has been the Ajofia before you called it the Ajofia, the evil forest. This thing has been this essence that protects the community by holding all of its pain in one place. It has been that before you called it that, before your ancestors existed, before time. You understand? So older than the man on your land. So everybody you're looking at, your elders, maybe your parents, your peers, older than all those people, but also older than the man in your shrine, right? So older than your ancestors, just a way of saying older than your ancestors. Now, this thing that cracks palm kernels with its bare hands, right? That cracks kernels with its bare hands and crushes pillars with its head is older than the man on your land and older than the man in your shrine. So that was one of my favorite lines. Let me go to the next one. We're doing Rap Genius for Ajofia. For those who don't know, we're doing Rap Genius for Ajofia Newi. Ajofia Newi. I'll explain what Ajofia is shortly for those who are new. And it also segues into what I wanted to talk about today. So let's do that. I usually like not having a topic because sometimes when it starts, I don't really feel like talking about topic, but I'm back in the mood. But whatchamacallit? The Ram says, man is known for using oil to eat his food, right? So, man is known for using oil to eat his food. And a lot of Ilu are like proverbs. Oil is used to oil, like cooking oil, different types of cooking oil. It's often used to represent like an easy life or to make something easy or to make something more digestible, to make something smoother, right? Which is the role that oil plays in the world, period, right? Is to make something easier, make something smoother. So when you're eating, like for example, if you're at home now and you're eating apple or you're eating gari, like a swallow, right? You take a ball, you press it up you dip it in the oil, and then you swallow it, and the oil lets it go down smooth. It also gives you this nice taste that you use to enjoy it and that kind of thing, right? I get headaches. I get headaches watching people try those. I'm gonna eat fufu for the first time videos. They give me headaches. Unless sometimes you'll get somebody that does, that does it. It's like, okay, that's what's up. They got it. You know what I mean? Because this is just me, right? Do whatever you want, have fun, enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. This is just me. This is just me. When people chew Gary, oh man, that drives me crazy. That drives me crazy because it's like, it's like a sensory thing for me. Like you're not supposed to chew. You're not supposed to chew it. I had somebody break down like metaphorically what Gary and soup represent, right? And it was interesting because the Gary is like the hardship of life, and then the soup is like what you enjoy, right? And you take them all in together, right? The Emu says a tree grows in two directions. Everything is multi-dimensional. Everything's going to come with both feelings, right? The things that you love in the world are attached to something that you don't love, right? And that's just what it is. You understand? And so but yeah, if you want to chew gari, chew all the gari you want. But people chew like, hey, it tastes bland. That's your spoon. The gari is your spoon. That thing is the spoon. So it's like if you give somebody like some cereal, right? For my American people, and then the person scoops the cereal and they start chewing the spoon like, man, this is really hard. And you're like, yo, you're not supposed to chew the spoon. And they're like, yeah, but I want to chew the spoon. It's like, all right, whatever. But I'm learning to get over it, man, because a lot of people like chewing. I guess a lot of wet people that grew up in the West, they like to chew their gari. They're like, no, I like it this way. I like it. It's like some serial killer shit, bro. But anyways, back to the thing. Chewing gari. Where was I at? But that's just me. And not everybody agrees with me. You know what I mean? That's just me. It's a personal thing. All right, so back where I was saying. So the Ram says, man is known for using oil to eat his food, meaning that man is known for taking things the easy way, right? Man is known for taking things the easy way. Man is known for using enjoyment to navigating through life through pleasure, right? Doing what feels good, right? So oil gets used a lot in like the culture to represent like ease of life and enjoyment. Again, you take the gari. The gari itself is not supposed to be enjoyable. If you just take gari and you're chewing it, which I saw some Cameroonian doing, if you just take gari and you're swallowing it, that's crazy. If you just take gari and you're chewing it, no. But if you dip it in the soup, which has all the flavor and all the meats and all the seasoning, that's the hand. Then now you're really enjoying yourself, right? That kind of thing. So that to me says that the Ram says man is known for using oil to eat his food. It's important that it's also coming from the ram. The ram represents the ikenga. The ikenga is what your chi gives you in order for you, like your chi get, everybody is created with a purpose, right? Every single person has a purpose. And whatever purpose you have every single thing it takes to manifest or actualize or achieve, whatever term you use, that purpose, right? The Ilu says that when your chi gives you a yam, your chi gives you a knife to cut it. So anything your chi has laid before you, you're about to go be Batman in Baltimore or something, right? Oh, I can't be Batman. Somebody's gonna shoot me. Somebody's gonna beat me up. Go be Batman. Watch this, and you go be Batman, and it works. For some reason, you win every fight. That's your chi's behind you. If you're winning, your chi is behind you. If you're not, your chi is well, it's your chi that's making you lose, but your chi wants you to lose for a reason, if that makes sense, right? So that's kind of what that means. Whatever it is that your chi has sent you to do, it has equipped you to be able to do that thing. Now that equipment on a abstract level is represented by the ram, the ikenga, right? The ram is also the masculine element of creation, right? So the ikenga is a man's seat of power. That's where a man gets his powers from, his ikenga, right? So this is really interesting. Somebody made a post on Twitter and they posted this KH, I think it's KHESU, right? KHESU. And it was a ram with it was like a headpiece, but it was a ram and it had what represented the rays of the sun. They also posted damn near the same thing, but it was from Benin, the exact same thing, like almost the exact same thing, but it was from Benin. Another person posted the Yoruba one, right? And then I myself, I added the Igbo one, and it was all the exact same symbol. It was all the exact same thing, which was a ram and the things coming out. Now, I've had people make connections and say Kensu, I think it's pronounced Kensu, and Ekwensu are connected. I've had people say that. I'm like, being skeptical, I always say, okay, well, we'll look into it. I don't know. I can't say that I know, but I'll look into it. As time goes, I'm coming to realize we're talking about the same element. The fact that they sound similar phonetically is very interesting, right? It's very interesting, right? So back to the thing. So Ajofia Newi says, the ram says man is known for using oil to eat his food, and war is used to know the warrior. So the average human being is known for their pursuit of ease, right? It's the pursuit of ease that we use to know a human being, the same way that we use war to know a warrior, right? The relationship human beings have with the pursuit of ease is equivalent to the relationship a warrior has with war. And if you think about being a human being, our technology, the way we build houses, everything we do, it is always the pursuit of ease. That's what makes us separate from other animals, is the pursuit of ease, right? So I found that interesting. Destruction. Now listen to this. Destruction pulls one up like fetched water, right? Destruction pulls one up like fetched water, right? So we're going back to the great dying that befell the forest in the very beginning of the stanza, right? And the Adjofia is saying that destruction, this thing called destruction that we avoid and we hate and we fear and we don't want it to happen and we've equated with the evil of the world, that's what pulls you up like fetched water. Going back to that thing I was saying earlier with the trauma, right? I think that's what, like, one of the things that make you who you are, one of the things that allow you to know what your direction is all the pain that you have gone through in life, right? And I do think, like, for example, there's a lot of similarities between the African worldview and like the East Asian, like the Asian Indian worldviews and things like that. When it comes to like Buddhism, Taoism, things like that. Yes, there's a whole lot of connections, but I think one fundamental difference between the African worldview and the Asian worldview is that in a lot of what comes from the Asian worldview, suffering is something you're supposed to escape, right? It's something you're supposed to escape, something you're supposed to eventually surpass. In essence, it's not really supposed to be happening to you, right? In the African worldview, it's one of the many members of this community we call existence. And you guys are neighbors, and it's okay, right? So you learn to live with it. You learn to live with it. You learn what it wants. This is all tying back to what I wanted to talk about today, by the way. You learn what it wants from you and what it wants from your community. And you make sure you find a way that everybody gets what they want without hurting each other, right? That's the difference between the two worldviews. So this one says destruction pulls one up like fetched water. When this gift stops flowing from my body, I will rest. I think at this point the Ajofia was feeling himself, right? So this is the Ajofia's way of saying I am going off right now. You know what I mean? Right. So when the gift stops flowing from my body, I will rest. But then also going back to the lamp, right? So the gift of the way I'm seeing it, the gift of the Ajofia is wisdom. And when that wisdom stops flowing from my body, you see smoke rising from Ajofia's head. I think that is representing wisdom. When this wisdom stops flowing from my head, I will rest. I will cease to be. Right? I'll cease to be. I will rest. You understand? So even though Ajofia is holding all of these things that are haunting a community, its main role, the main thing Ajofia believes it's here to do is to share wisdom. And when the Ajofia works to the community, that's exactly what it does, right? Though all those different traumas and pains, and there's these different, like all the things attached to it. Some of it's like the name will translate to like miscarriage, broken home, loneliness, all these different things. But all of those things are ingredients. They're ingredients for wisdom. Okay, so you're putting it into this pot, you're bringing wisdom forward, right? All right, so when the gift stops, okay, a closed ear is used to tie one down. A closed ear is used to tie one down. I think that one is at least to me, it's self-explanatory. Ignorance, right? Ignorance keeps you where you're at. A closed ear is used to tie one down. Ignorance keeps you where you're at. Now, I think this next line confirms my interpretation, which is, as is the eating of the heart of the horse, one brought to climb the mountain. Okay? These are things that leave you stuck where you're at. These are things that leave you stuck where you're at. Okay? Let's say now, like we'll use the heart of the horse. Maybe there's somebody that comes into your life, and this person, based on your akaraka, your destiny, is supposed to be a huge blessing to you, right? They're supposed to be this huge, they're eventually going to be the source of this huge blessing to you. But let's say, I don't know, you're dishonest or something, right? And you decide to, you know what, I'm going to max out their credit card, right? Or, you know, you just decide to do the petty thing to them and lose the big picture, lose the big thing, right? And lose the big thing. I actually had this conversation with somebody recently. They're in a bad relationship, right? And you know what? Let me not tell the story because I feel like I'm telling somebody's business too much. Let me not do that. I'm not going to do that. But either way, there's a way that just, you know, what's the term? I think it's like where you eat your blessing or something like that. Like there's an American idiom, an American ilu, where they say don't. I don't know, where you do something, right? But both of those things. So a closed ear tying a person down, and then the eating of the heart of the horse that you brought to climb the mountain, right? Now, yeah, you filled your stomach, but now you can't do that thing you were supposed to do, which is climb that mountain, right? The great thing, right? It's also important to note that in the Igbo language, the word for mountain and the word for respect are very closely linked, right? I'm going to mess up the pronunciations, but it's ugu and ugu, right? Ugu and ugu. You understand? The word for mountain and the word for respect are closely related, and there's different words for respect in the Igbo language. This respect is more like an accumulation of what makes you you. The accumulation of what makes you you. Now, some people's accumulations pile higher than other people's accumulations. You see how it connects to the mountain, right? So we're looking at you as a mountain, all the things that pile together to make you this great hill, right? So that's another way to look at it as well. The word in Igbo, there's some things you catch in this that maybe in English you don't catch as easily. But ugu and ugu, I hope I'm getting I'm not good with tones, right? The tones right, but the mountain and the Uluma, be careful, or I'm on camera. And, right. uh, Yeah, so mountain and respect. There's a connection between the two words, right? All right. For if famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. There's a lot of Ilu that say this very similar thing, right? There's one that says, if a goat starves to death, it won't be in a yam barn, all these different things. If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. I want to get you guys' interpretation. I also want to read some of your comments. Give me your comments. Give me your comments. Give me your comments. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Exactly. Exactly. It's similar. Yeah, similar. Right? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Actually, no, it's exactly that. Yeah. Don't do the petty small thing that takes away the big, greater good thing. Right? Good. Yeah, perfect interpretation. So where was I? Let me read it again. I want to get you guys' interpretation. Right? So this next one says, if famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. I need to come back with lessons. Rap genius for the bars. I draw for y'all on the mic. Would that be the second world age? Yeah, Ugachi. Yeah, that's the second world age. Is Ugachi. You understand? Akoi Garaha Forest in Japan. Akachi. I think I've heard of it. I think that's the I can't say the words. I'm going to say that. I think that's the Logan Paul forest. If you don't know what Logan Paul did over there, but yeah. I think it's not the same. Like you wouldn't go there to do that, right? If we're talking about the same forest, you wouldn't go to the Ajofia to do that in Igbo culture. But if you do that, you are buried in the Ajofia. If you do that, you are buried in the Ajofia. Very recently, we passed a community rule because somebody went abroad and came to introduce meth to the village, and so they made a community rule that if you, and this is going to sound very harsh to the American ear, right? If you pass from an OD, you're buried in the Ajofia, and there's no funeral, right? And man, I should. All the fiends inside just in the stomach, right? If you pass from that, then that's what they're gonna do. Also, if you were a person who was selling it, it's the first time in my life that I've seen a new abomination be created. Communities create laws all the time, but creating an abomination is a whole different level, right? So in my community, if you OD from that, they can't bury you because the idea is you bury the things you wish to return. So this person's UFO, this person's boat, right, was carrying that addicted spirit, that the spirit of addiction, and we don't want to plant it back in the ground and have it come back, right? It's a different psychology over there. So I'll do more. Reminds me of the fruit from the Bible, something lost to wisdom. Okay, I like that. I like that. A baby has a few pain, crying, being able to learn. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Reminds me of hazing a little bit. What hazing does, though, what hazing does is like if you join an organization, that hazing or that pain, that ritual pain that's inflicted with a lot of like secret organizations, it makes the bond that much stronger. If that makes sense. So you're less likely to snitch, right? Which in male organizations, that's always super important. This is worldwide, worldwide, right? You can't snitch, which is why I always find it funny that the only culture in the world people always are trying to tell or criticize their non-snitch law is like Black American culture. That's the only culture people are like, oh yeah, I did that. What do you mean no snitch? That's stupid. Whether the consequence is good or bad, every culture on earth has organizations of men, and they always have a non-snitch rule. You take it to every corporation, the damn government, uh, country clubs, fraternities, masquerade societies back home, Masons. It's just what it is, right? But it's only in one culture that people tell them don't do that. Don't do that. Go ahead and snitch. Go ahead and say, oh, if it happened to me, I'd snitch. Right? So yeah, current trauma in the U.S. is real. I swear, FAFO season for real. Hey guys, what are we reading? Oh, we're reading Ajofia. So I translated Ajofia. Ikenga Nation. Udochi, really, really happy to see you. I translated a stanza from Ajofia Newi, the Mawalo Moji, and I put it on Patreon. So I have it written out on Patreon. So if you want to go back, you can watch this video or check it out on Patreon. But I'm just giving translations, right? The rap genius. Yes, yes, yes. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, that's the track. Okay, good, 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 good. Pain is refining. Yes, there you go. All the lessons learned in one place. Flame of wisdom burning. Maka, that was dope. Yeah, that's the Logan Paul force. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thank you for that, Ray X. Does that mean the rich get richer? Poor? I'm going to go back to the interpretation, right? So, where was I? So, what did I? Where was I? Where was I? I guess if famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. Famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. How do I interpret that? If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. So I think there's something to it, and I'm basing it off the second line where misfortune knows where to go. Misfortune knows where it belongs, right? Misfortune knows where it belongs. There's an environment for everything. And there are some environments that some misfortunes don't perch, where some misfortunes don't perch. Yeah, I think that's that right? And I think that's what it's saying here. If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty. That misfortune knows where it belongs, right? Where it belongs. Some misfortunes, we cultivate the environment, we cultivate a home for it, right? We cultivate a home for misfortune, and then it arrives where it's been invited, and we're surprised that it's there. But there are just some places where certain things don't happen, right? There are some places where certain things do not happen, right? So in this one, right, if you go to the line before, it says, eating the heart of the horse that you brought to climb the mountain, right? That inability to climb the mountain is a misfortune, but the environment for the misfortune was cultivated by the eating of the heart, right? If famine perches, it will not be in the land of plenty, right? Same thing. And then the next line is what helps me interpret that line, which is, as one cannot drift in a dry stream, right? The act of drifting, or the capacity to drift, there's an environment for that, right? And if it's not there, the thing can't happen. So what I'm seeing now is that this poem, right, this Mbem, is about misfortune, right? It's about misfortune. And the Ajofia first starts off, right? So I'm going to go piece by piece because we're reaching at the last line. The Ajofia first starts by talking about this great dying that befell the forest, and how there was an evil spirit. Like, it refers to itself as an Ajo Mo, as an evil spirit, right? That does all these great things, right? Ignites wisdom, that does all these things, so on and so on and so forth. So in this land where this great dying befell the land, and this particular evil spirit emerges, right? And it's sharing all this wisdom. But again, what has been the repeating theme is that with all of this misfortune, all of this pain, all of this strife, all of this hunger is the source of wisdom, right? Is where the wisdom is coming from, right? When the Ajofia says that When the gift stops flowing from my body, I will rest, right? Now, think of what the Adrophia is. It is a collection of misfortunes, of Adromor, evil spirits, things you don't want. And it's just accumulating and accumulating. And then this smoke, this wisdom is rising from its head, right? Wisdom is rising from its head as it's accumulating these things. So it's going to continue taking in these ingredients to cook this wisdom for you. And once that stops happening, once it stops flowing, then its job is done, right? You can look at that as all the misfortunes of the world have gone away, or you can look at that as you've learned what you're supposed to learn, right? So going back to what we're saying. So as one cannot drift in a dry stream, and then the last line is, has the light of the lamp reached you? Okay, has the light of the lamp reached you? So that is my translation of Mbawalomoji. Oh, my camera went off. What happened? You guys can still hear me, right? I think my camera ran out of battery or something. There's just too many devices floating. I'll do my. Okay, cool. As long as you guys can hear me, I don't. It's all good. You know what I mean. So let me go back. I'm gonna read some of you guys' comments. I'm probably gonna hop, right? Don't block your blessings. Exactly. All the lessons learned in one place. That's what keeps the flame of wisdom burning. I'm not gonna like that. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. I'll do my. Okay, I'm trying to get caught up. The privilege isn't used to going through. The privilege is not you isn't used to going through the ringer. Yes, 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 and it goes back to when the Adrophia said that man is known for using oil to eat their food, right? You know, and the war as the warrior is known for war. You understand? So, how am I gonna turn this camera back? I'll just keep it off. It's all good. Video's having issues. Yeah, I think the my fancy new camera ran out of battery. All the new technology is so inconvenient now. Like you can't just plug things in and go. This one needs a little adapter, and that one needs a little. It just drives me crazy. So I'll dim up. But the thing I wanted to talk about, anyways, it relates back to that Ajofia, right? Which is the ancestral understanding. Good. I'm glad you asked. The ancestral understanding of demons. You understand, right? So I had a message on Instagram the other day, and there was a person saying that somebody is calling uh, this masquerade a demon, right? And a particular masquerade a demon. Uh, what do you think about that? And my answer was, yeah, no, that is a demon, right? The person is absolutely correct. That masquerade right there is a demon. That's what if we're going to use Christian terms, right? That's what it would be referred to, right? It's an adromo, right? It's an adromo. You understand? And which it goes to show the ancestral understanding of what demons are and how to deal with them. And I'm going to use the story of Onesimus, right? This is a Ghanaian man, I think Akan, right? But he was captured and brought to the United States, enslaved in the United States. And he was held by, I told the story in one of my videos. He was held by, I think it was Cotton Mathers, is his name, Cotton Mathers, who named him Onesimus. And Onesimus and Cotton was like one of the founding, his family was one of the founders of Harvard University, and also one of the quote unquote founding fathers. Now, listen to the story, you'll know why I'm saying quote unquote. One of the founding fathers of like the scientific community in the US, right? It was a Methodist. And so you'll notice a lot of Methodist hospitals and things like that, right? It's all connected to the story. And so they would always have these outbreaks of smallpox in the United States in the 13 colonies. And one thing that they knew about smallpox was for some reason the Africans would not catch smallpox the way the white people were, right? The Africans would live, a whole bunch of Europeans would die. The Africans would live, a whole bunch of Europeans would die, right? And so they began to realize that one of the things they noticed was that Africans with scars on their arm were more likely to survive than Africans without the scar. Now, this is them going years and years of dying without asking, hey, why are you, what's going on, right? Because they, in their head, there's no way these people figured out how to defeat smallpox, right? And so the finally, because Cotton in his head was he was progressive in his head, right? He decided that Onesimus, who he considered he would always write letters about how smart Onesimus was and blah 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 blah. He wrote to Benjamin Franklin's brother, funny enough, about how smart Onesimus was, and Benjamin Franklin wrote back the most racist ass, most racist letter imaginable, right? And so he said that he asked Onesimus, why is it that Africans don't die from smallpox the way the white people do? And Onesimus said that when he was little in his town, what they would do was when somebody would have smallpox, they would cut everybody's arm and they would put the blood from the person with smallpox into everybody else's body. And they would do this every time somebody had smallpox and that kind of thing, right? For the children. And so this was the source of what we now call vaccination and inoculation, right? That whole process is an African thing, right? Now, what is vaccination? Vaccination is taking something that kills you and putting it in your own body on your own terms, right? You take something that kills you, something that's bad. You take a demon, something that haunts you, and you put it in your body on your own terms. And this thing that haunts you, right, that was previously unaliving, I've said killed a bunch of times, I say killed, but that thing that's been killing you and your people and so forth for all this time suddenly is the thing that's protecting you from its brethren coming and doing the same thing, right? There's this thing we do in Igbo land. We don't do it anymore, anyways, but we should. Where at a corner of people's houses, a bowl is kept, and all the rainwater is collected there. Just whatever. It's just a dirty bowl. You understand? And when a baby is like a newborn, what they'll do is they'll have the newborn baby drink that water. You understand? And the baby will get sick. You understand? But what it does is it takes all of the bacteria and all of the everything that could possibly harm you in this specific environment that you live, and you take it in at once. And your body learns from that trauma, right? From that pain, from all of that, what all these different things are, right? So, like the atrophia, this accumulation, right? This accumulation of pain now becomes wisdom for your body, right? It becomes the what was the term? The the spirit that ignites the flame with its head, right? And so you take in all of these things as a baby. You take in all of the everything wrong, quote unquote wrong. We would call it wrong in the West because I think our idea with in America specifically with bacteria and viruses is like sanitation. Say get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. It was a very Christian idea, right? Stomp out the devil. That's what it is. That's what that is. That's where that comes from, right? Stomp out the devil, get rid of the devil. But for some reason, you come back next Sunday, the devil's back. You know, you got to do this shit all over again, right? That kind of thing, right? So we understand that if we were to call this thing the devil, right, which that's derogatory, I try not to, but if we were to call it the devil, we know that's not going anywhere, right? And so we're going to negotiate our relationship with this thing, right? Poison equals medicine, exactly. Right? Wasn't he involved in the Salem witch trials? So I believe the Salem witch trials was his dad. The Salem witch trials was his dad, which was Increase Mathers. Oh my God, I'm like, yeah, good catch. So Increase, this family did a lot of crazy stuff. So Increase was his dad. His Increase was doing the witch trials, and then his son decides to go get some witchcraft so that he can survive. He doesn't have to have smallpox anymore. Right? That's the irony of the whole thing. That's the hypocrisy of the whole thing, right? Because they were calling it witchcraft. They were calling this thing of mixing people's blood. They were calling it voodoo. They were calling it juju. What sort of names are these? So they're Methodist names. They're Methodist names. It's really funny because I was going to rabbit hole, so I got super interested in like church beefs, especially like early like like all the church beefs and things like that. And I love the show King of the Hill. And the maker of King of the Hill, the man, he's a very, very brilliant man. He's very intelligent. There's so many little things he has hidden under the surface of the show that you wouldn't know. But the big idea is that Hank is actually a pilgrim. Hank is an Increase Mathers, a Cotton Mathers. Are you hearing this, right? If you guys know King of the Hill, Puritans, yes. Hank is a Puritan. He's a pilgrim. You understand? Church abuse go hard. Yeah, they're very entertaining. Yeah. So Hank is, and I'm not like an expert on like the Methodist church, but I know that this is where this tradition comes from. So Hank is a Puritan, right? And I'll give the Methodist church its credit, and the Methodist, and what's the other one? Starts with an L. Methodist, Episcopal, or Anglican, and then the Lutheran, right? They kind of opened up the country for like accepting new ideas to an extent, right? Even though they also they went crazy in the beginning, right? So in King of the Hill, Hank is a pilgrim. He's a Puritan. If you listen to the names, his dad's name is Cotton, right? His brother's name is Good Hank. Right, things like that. So it's just a little thing he slid in there, which is interesting. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So this idea of making the devil go away forever, we don't believe in that. Making demons go away forever, we don't believe it. We don't believe in that, right? We live with them. We coexist with them. We study them. We ask them who they are and what they want and all that thing, right? All of that. We try to understand them, right? And once we've developed an understanding of them, once we know who they are, we can then negotiate how we're going to coexist, right? We're going to negotiate how we're going to coexist. Okay, what is it that you actually want? Oh, okay, you this virus, you just want to fight inside me. Okay, how about this? You're gonna fight your brother. So anytime a virus that's like you comes, you're gonna fight that thing. And that's inoculation, that's vaccination, right? Now, originally, the Puritans were calling it voodoo, all that stuff, the black magic. Benjamin Franklin's brother wrote this letter saying that certain people, I don't know if he was the one that was being shady or being direct, but they were saying that because people thought Cotton had lost his damn mind, and they actually thought that the Africans used black magic to make him start going crazy, and so that he can then use smallpox to get rid of the whites once and for all. That's what they decided. They threw like I want to say some kind of bomb or brick through his window. Like he was really, but he was standing, he stood 10 toes, like, no, this thing really works, right? Would these be left-hand spirits? I don't know. I don't know if we can classify them that way, right? I don't know if we can classify them that way. A spirit is a spirit, right? The issue, what makes a spirit an adjon more is if what it wants clashes with what you want. If what it wants clashes with what your family wants, if what it wants clashes with what your community wants, right? So, for example, I made a video about Obanje, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, Obanje, that's good. 99.9% of Igbo people see Obanje as a very bad thing, right? As a very, very bad thing. 99.9% see it as a bad thing. But an advanced Dibia would understand that the actual way to deal with this thing is to figure out what does it want, right? What does it want? Some Obanje just want to eat candy, right? Some Obanje are looking for a long lost friend. Some Obanje come into the world in the body like a man's body, but they want to be a woman, right? So, okay, what is it that you want? Okay, let's set up a relationship where you can have what you want and I have what I want, but we're not clashing with each other. And in fact, in some cases, you can even help me out, right? Fella is a good example. Fella, I'm not going to say it correctly, but he took on the name Anibalobo, something like that, right? Some long Yoruba name, right? And the name means the person who carries death in his pouch, right? Meaning that I'm not here to eliminate death. I'm not here to create a situation where death is bad and it goes away once I do. No, but it's in my. I'm gonna carry it in my bag. I don't fear it. I live with it. Right? We have a relationship. It is what it is. Yeah, that word. There, X. Thank you for that. Yeah, duru kedu. Ndị be gị kwan ha dị mma ka ị dị ahụ ọ dị gị mma agụ nwanyị ọ dị mma. So King of the Hill is animated American anthropology. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant show. You understand? So that's what that is, right? The same way fella is carrying death in his pouch is the same way a person is going to deliberately carry smallpox in their blood. Is the same way a person's going to bring out the Adjofia once a year to come and tell us poems. You understand? So we have an understanding. Sometimes when you see some of those masquerades, the ones where the women aren't supposed to look at, yeah, those are demons. You would, if a Christian would call it a demon, right? But right now, it's an entertainer. Right now, we've renegotiated the relationship with this thing. It's an entertainer. You understand? There's an ilu that also says a child, what is it? A child must see abomination to know that it exists, right? So we don't believe in sanitizing evil from the world, if that makes sense, right? That's not real. It'll never happen. It'll never like I said, you can go to church and stomp out the devil for 4 hours straight, right? You stomp out the devil 4 hours straight. Next Sunday you come back, you have to do it all over again. Why? That thing's not going anywhere. Death is not going anywhere. Pain is not going anywhere. Trauma is not going anywhere. A child must see an abomination. I say, absolutely, right? A child must see abomination to know that it exists. You understand, right? So you have a relationship with these things. Some of the, like, you'll see these masquerades that go around at certain times of the year, and they'll have like a cane, and they'll just like they'll go around whipping people, right? Chasing people and whipping people and beating people, right? And they've become controversial because people are like, oh, why do we have these traditions that are hurting people? Blah, blah, blah. This is barbaric. Da, da, da. No, no. Because if you check the name of that thing, its name is violence. Its name is pain. His name is, if I see you, I'll beat you. His name is division. It's all these different things, right? And instead of being allowed to just live in the community and we have to pretend it doesn't exist, or one day we're going to stomp it out, it doesn't exist forever, it is kept where it is supposed to be kept, or where we have decided to keep it in the Adjofia for 99% of the year. I'll say maybe 95% of the year. And then 5% of the year, it gets to come out and do what it wants to do, which is beat people's ass. They usually come out on the sixth moon. So for those of you who don't want to get whipped, don't go to Africa in June or July. But they come out once a year, right? And they roam through the community. And as even when they come out, right? So for example, now they do more than just beat people as well, right? They can serve as judges for trials. The purge, exactly. Right, exactly. They serve as judges for trials. There's one that is called so in our community, our main masquerade society is O is the water spirit in memory, right? So hers is the main masquerade society in my community. And they have this particular one that what it does is it accumulates all of the gossip in the community throughout the year, and then it comes out. I think it comes once every 5 years. It's not annual, right? But it comes once every X amount of years, and it sits down and it just airs out everybody's dirty laundry, and it's the funniest thing you'll ever see. It just airs out everybody's dirty laundry, just sits there and just rattles off everybody's dirty, that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing. Spraying people with tea, exactly. And it's hilarious. And that one, like, it will have like trials. Like, for example, like if two people are like by the end of that moon, nobody's supposed to be fine. If it's purely traditional, right? A lot of the Christians don't run away from this stuff, but if it's purely traditional, at the end of the moon, nobody's supposed to be having a conflict. Any conflict we have, we got to resolve it now. You understand? And so people will come, okay, um, this person slapped my wife. Okay, we got to settle this. Da, 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 and they got to have this trial. It's like a very theatrical mock trial. Usually, the consequence is okay, restitution and give him a hug, right? That kind of is funny stuff, or you have to do push-ups, or just it's just funny, right? But it takes away all that tension that people have for each other, right? Now, another thing this particular masquerade will do is it'll go into your farm and start stealing your food. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're supposed to just allow it to, right? You're supposed to allow it to, because all of these demons are a part of our community, right? And they had that phase when they were younger where they were misbehaving, right? And now they're older, they have a new role in the community. They are not rejected. They're not what, but they have a you have a new thing. Yeah, you like to steal, but I think you would make a good judge. Yeah, you like to expose people, so you're going to be the person that exposes everybody's, to make sure that we're not keeping secrets from each other and that kind of thing, right? They really say, "Rub me." Well, just show up in your farm and start taking food. You understand? Go to your backyard and start stealing clothes. That kind of thing. There's not you're not supposed to do anything. There's nothing you can do, right? It's hilarious. The whole thing is hilarious, right? But in its original form, when it was allowed to roam without as just something you feared, yeah, it probably wasn't funny. It was probably taking people's lives and doing different things like that, right? So it's an entirely different relationship with this idea of what's demon that right. The reason I even got into this because I was Deante Kyle had that video where he's saying that talking about people who think their ancestors are demonic, right? Which I think the level of spiritual development and just basic intelligence of my audience, I don't need to explain to anybody here that that's a ridiculous way of thinking, right? But I did want to talk about okay, this concept of demons. How do we see it, and how do these other people see it? These other people see it as something to run away from. These other people see it as something that is scary, something that is one day going to be ultimately defeated in Ragnarok, right? Thor is going to come take away all the evil in Ragnarok. There's going to be an ultimate battle. You understand? You notice that where all these ideas come from, there's always an ultimate battle, whether it be the race war, whether it be the war to end all wars, whether it be Ragnarok, with all these different things. There's always going to be a thing that's going to take away all the thing. And finally, somebody's going to win. The good guy's going to win in the end, right? So we don't see it like that, right? We're going to be here forever. These things are going to be here forever too. But we negotiate the relationship we have with them. We are in the driver's seat of the relationship we have with them. And so we just started our traditional medicine class, and you're going to, those of you who are students, you're going to notice a lot of healing is based on this principle of renegotiation, of reorganization, of vaccination, of inoculation, right? So yeah, vaccination, inoculation, that's the most African. Shadow integration. Perfect. Christian, thank you for that. Christian Ike, thank you. Shadow integration. You don't run from your shadow. Your shadow is not something you're going to ultimately defeat. Fundamentally, it is a part of you. When we talk about knowing your chi is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself doesn't mean that you just wear white robes and say nice stuff to people and meditate all. No, it's all that, everything about all of that. Things you're proud of, things you're ashamed of, things you're confused about, things you're very clear about, all of that. That's all you. Remember I was talking earlier about the Ezumezu, the you as a universe. Let me see if I can charge my damn battery because I feel like I'm wasting hand gestures. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, all of that is you. When we were talking about you as a solar system, all of it, every element, it's all in your UFO. All of that is part of your UFO. You see how everything we talked about today just kind of ties together? You see that? I used to, when I first started this, we have these group studies on Patreon, right? And I used to like weeks ahead, I'd like have the topic and the talking points and blah, 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 all this shit. I was like, you know what? These inspirations, if I have this thing is its own thing. It's going to move through the world the way it's going to move through. And I'm going to like it more than whatever I plan. So I started just like, just letting it flow. Whatever y'all want to talk, let's go. And in my opinion, the level of conversation we had once I made that decision was a lot better because the wisdom, the abia, right? Abia is like, imagine wisdom as a spirit, right? The abia, it already knows who it is. It's just get out of its way, let it be its own person. So I think that's happened here too. All the things we talked about kind of integrated together well. Some of the people undergirding the one. Okay, I don't know why I'm reading like this. Some of the people undergirding the one currently in charge are saying a lot of stuff from white supremacist religious cults teaching at the end. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They already missed the last rapture. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the fucking rapture. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They missed the rapture, but there's another rapture coming, I'm sure. You know what I mean? There's another rapture coming, I'm sure. But yeah, a lot of these ideas are always cooked up in study the religion of the people you deal with. Study the even when they say they're not of that religion anymore. It's the scaffolding of their essence. It is the scaffolding. A lot of them they change the trimmings, they change the drywall, but the basic structure comes from their spiritual, religious, whatever you want to call it. That's where that comes from. And it doesn't really go away, right? It doesn't really go away. That's why even earlier we were talking about King of the Hill, right? You look at the character of Hank. He's not a pilgrim anymore, but he's a pilgrim, right? He's 100% a pilgrim. You understand? He wants his plain wife. He wants to he wants to do the same thing over and over, that kind of thing. But he also has this the pilgrims, even think of the term King of the Hill. The pilgrims had this concept of the shining, whatchamacallit, on the hill. That America was this, what's the word, shining castle on the hill or shining beacon on the hill. There's a specific term that they had, that America was this unique pocket of, I guess, godliness on top of a hill. And everything below the hill were the quote unquote savages and yada, yada, yada. And the show ends up being called King of the Hill. And it's based on this Methodist. And it's brilliant. I think I like that show a lot. City Upon the Hill. Oh yeah, there. Obvious. Yeah, obvious. Yeah. I was overthinking it. So yeah. I'll do my. Let me see if I missed any questions before I hop. Never knew that about Hank and him. Yeah, one of my favorite shows. It's deep. It's deep. Yeah. Yeah, City on the Hill. Yep. Yep. It's one of my favorite shows, and it's very deep. And no denali. Nothing happens is random. Does crazy or insanity even exist? Oh, this is a good question. Thank you for this. Does everything imagine have? Oh yes, oh Brandon, what's up? I caught who this was from the cadence of your questions before I even registered the name. I was like, wait, that sounds like, oh, yeah, it does. That's right there. All right, so does crazy or insanity exist? Okay, so yeah, so I have this book. It's a really good book, and I think I recommend it at least once every live. It is Healing Insanity by I think he's a Dibia, so Dibia Dr. Patrick Iroebu. And what he broke down Ara, which we translate as insanity, madness, right? And he says that Ara is anything that pulls you away from the collective. Ara is anything that pulls you away from the collective. So, for example, perfect example, right? Right? Yeah, healing and sanity, Patrick Uribu. A lot of DBAs, if you tested them in the US system, they'd say this person is crazy, right? If you go home and ask about this person, oh yeah, that guy, he's nuts. Oh, Nyara, he's very crazy. You understand? They'll say that. You understand? But that doesn't mean that that person should not be a part of this community. So it's Ara when the thing, that madness, quote unquote, is affecting them to the point where they can no longer be a part of us, a part of the collective, a part of the family, right? But there's a way when you renegotiate, or we're going back to the same thing, when you renegotiate your relationship with that Ara, suddenly it starts playing a different role, right? So I'll use an example. Traditionally, this wouldn't have to happen, but because of the modern world, this happens. A lot of people who are DBAs have a break in their perception of reality. right? It's known as Ara Agon. Ara Agon. Okay? They have a break in their perception of reality. It looks like a psychotic episode. It looks like delusions. It looks like mania. Like he describes it very well, all these different things, right? All these different things. By the way, I feel that of all the sciences in the West, the two that are inching closer and closer to what our ancestors knew are psychology and physics. Those are the two that are getting the closest. The rest of them, they're those two are getting very close. They're inching closer. They got a long way to go, but they're getting there, right? So so these breaks in a person's perception capacity to perceive reality, right? And what happens is your agon. So everybody is made of four elements. They're chi, eke, agon, and mo. The agon is the part of you that is the thread through time and space, right? It is the part of you that knows why you are here. It is the part of you that knows why you are here, and it gives you your characteristics. Because earlier, what I said, when your chi gives you a yam, it gives you a knife to cut it with. So all of that is your akon. Whoever it is that you are this person for a reason, and you're supposed to be this person for a reason, right? And yeah, the world is supposed to be against you for a reason, right? You make purpose as a human. You can, but I'm not talking. That's not what I'm talking about, right? You were born with a purpose. Your purpose existed before you. Your purpose precedes you. Your purpose was being enacted in your previous life, and it's back again as you. Okay. So yeah, but you could also make purpose as a. You're free to do that. There's an ilu that says "Onye ekwe, chi ekwe." What a person wills, their chi wills. So your chi has this plan, but you can also have your own plan too, right? So as I was saying, what the hell? What was I even talking about? Alcohol. Yeah. So they have this break in their perception of reality, and what's happening is that part of them, their agon, right? So life is kind of like you becoming your purpose. John, I'm gonna get to that. So agon is you is your agon, and your agon is fighting you more or less, right? Your agon is fighting. When you have that agon, when you have that break in your reality, there's a conflict between you and your agon. You understand? Because your agon is moving in this direction, which is your purpose, and you're moving in this direction, or you're not moving at all, or you don't know what's going on. Now, this happens more now than it used to in the past, because they would do the ritual for uniting a person with their agon early in their life, as a child, as a baby sometimes. Okay. And that union is you sitting down after the ritual and everything, is you sitting down with your agon. If you're in the traditional medicine class, this is one of the things we're going to learn, right? This is one of the things you're going to learn. And then if you want to do the ritual, we can the Dibia can guide you through it, right? But you sit down with your agon, and plus the ritual and everything. You sit down with your agon, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to listen. That's more or less what's going on. I'm ready to listen. You don't stop being crazy. But with time, that thing that we're calling crazy begins to make more sense as to who you are and why you're like that. And some people need to be that. Some people need to be that. You understand? I can't remember what it is, but there was let me not talk about that. It's too Joe Rogan. Thank you. Last one. Does everything you imagine, regardless of how abstract or fantastical or illogical, is not real, daydream, dream, purpose in your life, meant for you to see? Of course. Yeah, of course. I think so. Yeah, of course. It's not by accident that you're receiving these things, right? It's not by accident. Yeah. It's coming to you for a reason. Sometimes the abia, there's a thing that Prince or Michael Jackson, there's this famous Michael Jackson quote. I don't know how real it is, but they said that Michael Jackson said that anytime he'd get an idea, he'd have to do it right away, because otherwise God would give it to Prince. Something like So there's a reason you're receiving it, and if you're not gonna bring it into the world. Somebody else will, right? Or you're not gonna make it happen. Yeah, that kind of thing. So that was a very the nanny type of quote. So I did one. All right, so we're gonna see if we have any. But yeah, it's hilarious. I laughed when I first heard it. So yeah, but yeah, guys, I'm trying to think of a new way to do the lives. I like the way we do it already, but I'm thinking about like doing it daily, right? Now, the thing that's making me hesitate is that my schedule is super loaded, so it's a hell of a commitment. But I'm thinking about I'm tempted to do it daily, right? But if you guys want to do weekly, that's fine too. But you guys know where to reach me: Patreon, email, various social media. I really don't check Instagram, so if you've messaged me on Instagram, I feel bad for you. But yeah, can you touch on someone's got to birth it exactly? Can you touch on becoming your purpose? Yeah. So when we use English and say purpose, right? When we use in Igbo, we would say awele, awele, and awele doesn't translate to purpose at all. But the best way to explain awele is, let me see if I can turn this thing back on. The best way to explain awele is like I always use the analogy of the seed, right? So a seed in the ancestral view is already a forest, but it has to interact with the elements of creation in order for us to see that it's a forest. Now, once we begin to see that it is a forest, I think I can get this camera back on. Hold on. Once we, excuse me, that was gross. I will is like your destiny or destination. Okay, we're back. Yeah. So, we're back here, yeah. So I will. Yeah. So think about like a seed, right? Why am I blurry? Okay. A seed is already, I hope you guys can hear me well. Okay. A seed is already a forest in the ancestral view, right? There's this thing that like they'll say that, like I'll use devias for example, that a person is not made a devia, you're born a devia. Right? A person is born a devia. A baby that was a devia in the past life is already a devia. You understand, right? And so the big idea is over time, it'll become more obvious to the normal person that, okay, yeah, this is Zadivia because they're wearing the thing and they're doing the thing. But you were already that thing when you were born, right? So Awala is the point where you reach that destination where we can now perceive what you are, what you're supposed to be, and that kind of thing, right? I gotta figure out how to zoom out this kid. It's a little too close, right? Where we figure out the thing that you are or you're supposed to be and so forth. That's how with it, right? And so becoming your purpose, I would say you always are your purpose, right? It's just up to the rest of up for you to reach the point where I guess the rest of the world can see it, but you already are your purpose. And I'll use the example of the fact that the Ilu says that Obu Oromadu Kachia Siakeya, which is it's based on each person's work that their chi creates them. Oh, Obu Oromadu Kachia Siakeya, right? It's based on each person's work that their chi creates them. So your genetic structure is what it is because of who you're supposed to be, because of who you already are, right? But over time, we'll finally eventually see it, right? Now, if we have a stronger spiritual eye, we can see it from when you're born, right? So yeah, I would say like destiny destination. Cool. Brandon, good questions as always, man. That concept is discussed in The Artist's Way. If you don't act on inspiration, it'll go to the next person who will bring it to life. What's your cool? I'd say stick to weekly for now since you're busy. Yeah, but the world is moving into like a live stream kind of culture, right? Live whatever, right? And so we keep up. I want to keep up. But yeah, I can respect that. Weekly's fine. Daily, don't get yourself in trouble or behind on your responsibility. Okay, so Brandon's saying daily. Uh, Someone's got a birthday concept. All right, not everyone. Take care, Brandon. I think it's time to walk up to. Thank you for the seed analogy. I'm starting to understand. My life is that one. Rather cool. Yeah. Whatever what you're going to be, you're always going to be. I used the Nas lyric in my Chi Explained video to kind of explain that because it's the same thing where it's like he reached a point in the lyric where he saw who he was supposed to be, and everything that brought him to this point came together to make it happen and make it make sense. So I did well. Not daily if you have things to do. Yeah, I have things to do. So I just want to know how all these other people do the daily though. I guess it's just that's the thing they do, right? Which that's which is why I'm debating because this is the thing I do, right? We'll see, right? We'll see. All right, guys, this has been a great discussion. I think it is time to lock it up. Um, yeah, get on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon already, patreon.com/the medicine shell. Uh, if I do a daily one, can I tell people story? Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I have 365 stories though, but we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out, right? But yeah, like I said, get on Patreon, patreon.com/the medicine shell. On the Patreon, you have access to my library. Those of you who are on Patreon, if you don't have access to the library, it's got like over 300 books and things like that. If you don't have access to the library, message me so I can get you linked. And then the Deante calendar, it tells you the new moons, what the observances are for the new moons. The calendar links to your Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar. It tells you what market day we're in, what each market day means, what the observance is. So it's just like it's a good thing to have. It's a really good resource to have. And this has been a great discussion. So no training DBA yet. Our traditional medicine class actually started today. It started today. Why? If I don't know if you're signed up, but if you're interested, message me. It's not too late to get in the class. There are still seats available, and it's just you would have missed one day, which there's a recording. So, how do you access the calendar? Okay, John, can you send me this message on Patreon? I'm going to give you an answer, and then I'm going to hope it works for you. But if it doesn't, message me on Patreon so that I remember to respond to you about it. But just go to it should be just be on your Google Calendar. So if you go to Google Calendar, you'll see like today is Eke Uri Afo on each of the days, and then whenever there's a new moon, it's yellow, and it'll tell you, "Oh, Amaka, thank you, appreciate that." The new moons are yellow, and then like if you click on the icon, like the Eke one and so forth, like let me show you an example of what it looks like. So I go to my Google Calendar with the same email address, that you signed up on Patreon with. So when I go to my Google Calendar, I'm glad I can like use my phone now. This is cool. But hold on. Let me go to the monthly view. Month. Okay. Do I want you guys all in my business like that? It's whatever. Okay, so hold on. Let's see if they can show up. Okay, so when you go to your Google Calendar, I'll try to cover some of this stuff, but you will see each market day is marked, right? So there's Eke Ori Afo Nkwo, Eke Ori Afo Nkwo Go. So it tells you which day you're on. Today is Nkwo. Today is Nkwo day. Oh, tomorrow's my day of rest. So I'm actually gonna rest tomorrow. I haven't done this in a while. Tomorrow's my day of rest. I'm actually gonna rest tomorrow. Today is Nkwo. Eke is the day of rest. So when I click Eke, right, I go here and I click Eke. It tells me everything I need to know. So the meaning, what it represents, associations, the rules, like what rules go behind it, and then for a full understanding, and then I gave like a link to one of my videos that explain it. Right, the new moon. So the moon we're in is Onwa Ana. Onwa Ana. Onwa Ana. In a lot of communities, you're gonna start seeing things that like signal kind of like the ending of the year or planting season, right? That kind of thing. So Onwa Ana. So it tells you what Onwa Ana is all about. That kind of thing. And then just what to do. So Onwa Ana, remember to acknowledge Allah, the earth, on this moon, avoid Aru, abominations against Allah, and those who commit Aru, So don't just avoid, or in this moon, don't just avoid Aru, avoid those who commit it. Okay, so that's the calendar. It should just be on your Google Calendar if you're a patron. There, it should just be on your Google Calendar if you're a patron. If you're not seeing it on your calendar, message me and I'll try to link you back on. Okay. Okay, I just found mine. Okay, I'll do mine. All right, Jashika. As always, I want to see like 10 more of you guys on Patreon. I got a new video coming out very soon. So everything's back on track. So you guys have been really patient. This year has been like in a good way, right? In a good way, has been like there's been a lot of things pulling me in different directions, but they've all been great. They've been good, right? And I think we're back on track now. We're back on track with everything. Things are going back to normal. So as always, unu ga-adị unu ga-eto nke ọbụla unu tiri aka ọ ga-adị n'ụwa ọ ga-adị otu a na eke orie afọ na nkwọ ise